All right, I think I'm about ready to get going here. I guess start off with how's everyone doing tonight? Good, I hope. Good. I guess I'd like to just start off with dissecting the Bitcoin dollar chart because I'm learning fairly recently that given all the action over this past week, that really the Bitcoin dollar chart really is kind of the lifting and lowering tide that lifts all the other coins' boat. So it's a pretty good idea to know what's going on in the Bitcoin chart. Now, as we know, it's definitely in a long-term bull trend. This action here is definitely corrective type of action, I would view it as. The question is whether it has bottomed or not. To me, I definitely like this as an ABC corrective three-wave move. Now, the C wave didn't quite make 100% fib projection. If we grab our A wave and project it from B, you can see we're in the 786 to 1 zone. So 1 is that 7895 number down here, which is kind of a lot of people are, a lot of the market is kind of has that number in mind. And, it ultimately may get there. Right now, I'm kind of seeing clues that would suggest to me that the bottom is in. My default position right now is that the bottom is in Bitcoin, and I'll show you why in a minute here, but let's clean this up. So there's our 100% A equals C projection. But we have some very constructive stuff going on, especially in these daily candles. So here's my 786,618 zone that I generally like to buy in. I like to see a market retrace into this zone. And sure enough, when we hit the top of this zone, the first time buyers immediately stepped in, pushed the market higher. Second time, we came down pretty hot, on some heavy selling volume, definitely some good volume coming in. But look what happens as soon as we're in this zone. Buyers definitely step into this market and bid the price up. We didn't even have a closing candle in my zone. And this long candle here is what's called a dragonfly doji, which, is very bullish if you see this at the bottom of a downtrend and a reversal bounce off of that. So we definitely have a very constructive looking impulsive type of fashion off of this, current low right now. And I definitely would default to the low being in. And to explain why, I'm going to go down to the hourly, and let's go ahead and dissect this down a little bit further. So I want to clarify a couple things and just explain. When I'm looking at Elliott waves and when I'm trying to size up the market, there's generally four types of market movements that I'm kind of looking at. And when you're thinking about Elliott waves and the impulsive and corrective fashion, or the optimistic and pessimistic type of price action, there's really only about four basic market movements that the market makes. Okay, there's impulsive down, which is what this looks like right here. This is absolutely impulsive down. Okay, and this is indeed a five-wave move here. We can count one, two, three, four, and then a big extended fifth wave. So this is what impulsive down looks like. This right here, out of this zone, I would call this impulsive up. To me, that definitely looks like impulsive up. We've got matching volume to support it. We've got a lot of volume coming in and coming out of this zone here. Definitely V-shaped reversal. This would generally be called a right hand extended V pattern. which is, can be a reversal pattern, absolutely. So I would definitely call this impulsive up. Here's our impulsive down. And then the other two movements is corrective down or corrective sideways and corrective up. And I would consider this corrective. This is not impulsive looking. This is definitely more corrective looking. And this is a slightly up bias, but this is, sideways. Here we've got a corrective up. Right here, the market kind of moved up, but it's not an impulsive fashion, right? Like this is just boom, impulsive volume buyers coming in. This, not so much. This looks more corrective to me. Same here, right? This move up is not very in an impulsive type of fashion. So that's, just some basic shapes of market movements will kind of help you understand, at least if you're, for those who are trying to learn about Elliott wave and how to really look at what constitute what of a wave, whether impulsive or corrective. Just look for general shapes, right? I mean, you'll start to see it, once you look at enough candles, it'll all just kind of blend together, and you'll just start to subconsciously, you'll just start to see it a little bit better. So anyway, we definitely came down impulsively, volumes coming in. To me, this looks like the beginning of an impulsive move. If we drill it down, we've got, little wave 1, wave 2, wave 3, 4, a little small fifth. And if you guys, anyone that's been paying attention, I've been posting a couple charts in the chat technical analysis channel. This, I was counting this as a ABCDE triangle. Let's see here. But it's definitely morphed on us, so I have to update my count, and I'll show you guys what it looks like to me now. So we definitely had a little triangle here. We'll call this our 5-wave move. We had an ABCD triangle for what I thought was wave 2. And it definitely started to look impulsive up here until it kind of ran into resistance, and it looks like Mike had this overhead trend line in there. Very nice. It definitely found resistance there over the last night's session, and definitely came down. And this does look impulsive down to me, and it definitely does look impulsive down. But what I would count this as, I thought this would be our 1-2 here, but I think this triangle now, I would count it as all of an A wave, and then this up here a B wave, and then this would be our 5-wave C move down to finish our now what I would consider a complex ABC for our wave 2 coming out of the low here, is how I'm currently counting this. Let's go ahead and mark this. Triangle B wave. A wave. We got our 5-wave move for C. So it is a little unorthodox, but B waves absolutely can make a higher high, and you can get a final C down. And I like how it definitely bounced off the top of my 618786 zone here. If what we do now is, because there's definitely, if this count is incorrect, I got to know where I'm wrong. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to draw my 618786 retrace zone of our entire suggested, low to high from our bottom of our initial impulse to the top of our current B wave. So here's now a zone where I start to get concerned in this market. If we start to, first of all, dip below this low here and start to go into the zone below the 618, I start to definitely get really concerned. Below the 786, then I have to really entertain that bottom is not in and that this lower low target to 8K is in play. But until then, right now, I definitely default with this being our current bottom and this being our initial impulse out of the low. And this just kind of morphed into a complex ABC. Now, we do have some nice information in our MACD, and I'll detail that right now. So let's go ahead and make this bigger so we can see it. Okay. So we had a downtrending MACD as we were going, downtrending in price, and that's expected. Sure, as you're making lower lows and lower highs, downtrending price action, you're going to ultimately see that in the MACD as well. You're going to see lower lows and then lower highs. So we definitely had a downtrending resistance line on the MACD here, and this is the real way you use MACD. Crossovers are great. Zero line is useless to me. I like to look for coiling action or resistance and uptrending lines in MACD. For example, here we've got an uptrending line here. And as soon as we break at here to the downside, let's take a look at what price action is doing, just to give you guys another example here. So here is right when MACD broke this line, and then it came upside to test it on the, when you have support line, right, and then it breaks it, and then you come back to test as resistance. Look exactly what happened. We had the top, we had another lower low on price, and it was the top of either a 4. Yeah, this is probably a 4 if I count 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, something like that. But then look what happened. It ran into resistance, and then boom, we had this massive, sell-off. So that's the way I like to use MACD. I like to look for resistance and support lines, and as soon as you have an established line of support break, and then especially come back to test it as resistance and then fail, that's because what the MACD is momentum, and so that's very helpful when you look for support and resistance lines. So having said that, let's go back to current example. So we've got this downtrending MACD, right? During the whole sell-off, we're getting lower highs on the MACD. Now look what happens here, guys. We break that downtrending line pretty impulsively, and where do we do that as? Let's look back at the price. See if we can make this smaller. Well, guess what? That's our impulsive move out of the low. That's exactly what I would like to see. Now, if we make this bigger again, okay, so now we broke out of that downtrending MACD line. We're still above it. Price came back down, bounced off of our 618 support box. We also found support right at that line. That's beautiful. That's exactly what I want to see. The MACD has now been reset. Momentum is reset. To me, this still looks good. This is exactly, what I want to see. If I see this line now break to the downside, then I'm, that's another indication where I'm concerned that the lower low target is in play. But for me right now, I am defaulting to the low being in Bitcoin. And this, it so far looks good, right? It looks pretty good bouncing off of our zone here, on our suggested C wave low for our 5-wave C move down. So I like this. I'm definitely long. I'm fully positioned right now. If we do start dropping, especially below, our suggested triangle here for our complex A wave, in the 10.7 below 10.5, I start to get really concerned, and then we have to, I'm sure if we're in that zone, my MACD line will break, and I have to entertain the possibility that that lower low target is coming into play. Any questions?
I'm sure there's a million.
Let's see. Let me scan chat real quick. I don't really see anything.
It's about 15 seconds delayed on Twitch, so maybe Let's see. Maybe not. Maybe everyone's like, yeah, this is obvious.
Well, so just to reiterate, I do think the low is in. This could have been a little shakeout. You know, I was kind of counting on this as being an impulsive with my 3 up here, but now I have to, you know, go with what the market's telling me. Someone asked about WTC. Let's see. Can you explain where to start drawing the trend line from MACD? All right. So with the MACD, because this is, you know, this is very important, and I think this is such a fundamental thing that will really help a lot of people out. So we're just going to go back into history and just find some more, right? Because I mean, you can find them everywhere, but what'll help you is looking at, you know, long-term trends. Here we've got a little uptrend here. And okay, this is interesting. This is very, very interesting. I'm actually glad I hadn't noticed this on the chart myself. So now this is another reason why I really like this low now. Okay, guys, this is some history in the making here. So what we just did, I zoomed out on the MACD a little bit, right? Here we've got a really low point in the MACD where the momentum was really, really low. Okay, I just drew that to our current low point in the MACD because this is our current, you know, low point. Okay, I'm going to zoom out a little bit. Where did that price happen? Let's take a look. Well, it's our suggested A wave here. So this is the point where there was more momentum going into this low than this low. And the reason why is because of that MACD trend line. Okay, we have positive divergence between those 2 points. So when we hit a lower low in price up here, right, our C wave went below our A wave. Okay, look what the MACD is doing. We've got a higher low in momentum. Do you guys see that? See how this trend line is pointing up, meaning this low point in our MACD is higher. You can see the crosshair bar, you know, it's equal over here. So this low point, it bottomed and bounced at a higher point than this point over here. Does everyone see that? That is called positive divergence. Now that is another great signal to me that this low point is good. So let's just go back and find a couple more examples because you can do this all day, guys. So here we've got a downtrending kind of MACD, right? We're making lower peaks, right? Lower highs. You know, the line is just moving down. So we've got kind of less momentum happening. And now let's take a look at what price is doing during this time period. Well, we're kind of in distribution mode. We're kind of building a top. Did anybody catch that? He was on like a week ago, maybe last weekend. He was talking about, he was a forex trader, and he was talking about accumulation and distribution. Did anybody catch that?
Yeah, dope trades. That was the guy.
Yeah, I caught a little bit of it, and I liked what he was talking about. He was, you know, he knew what he was talking about. And so to go along the lines of that accumulation distribution phase, you can kind of see the distribution when you look for those, you know, MACD trend lines. When you've got, so you can kind of, you know, do it in, you know, price here. So this is your divergence, right? You've got uptrending price, but you've got a downtrending MACD. Well, what does that mean? That means there's less momentum going into a higher price, and that usually signals kind of a, you know, an exhaustion, right? When you've got less momentum or less trades happening at a higher price, that's less market participation, right? That's less consensus of those prices, and you know, markets are maybe getting ready to enter in a correction phase, or you know, some kind of thing. You know, we definitely broke the resistance here on this little little impulsive wave, but then it failed. It didn't really hold it as support. You can see here, then it's just we're still in kind of a ugly correction, kind of corrective mode. But I definitely like that positive divergence that we're seeing now between our first low on our A wave and our most recent low on our C wave. That definitely looks great. It looks fantastic. I hope I answered that question as to like what you're looking for in the MACD. Just draw those trend lines, guys. Like you'll see the MACD coil and turn into, triangle shapes. And a lot of the times, if a MACD is coiling in a triangle pattern and getting tighter and tighter, a lot of the times you'll see a TTM squeeze, saying that volatility is compressing, and markets kind of building pressure to make a big move one way or the other. Yeah, Dope loves the Mac Daddy. That's a great name for it, and I love that name. That's hilarious. And he's right. The Mac Daddy is the only indicator you ever need. That and volume, obviously. Any other questions? Hopefully that was a thorough explanation of how you really use the MACD. Can we see divergence on a higher time frame for confirmation? Absolutely. The weekly MACD is going to move a lot slower, obviously, but you can definitely use it in the same way. How valuable to consider RSI? If you like it, fine. All the power to you. I personally don't use it. I find it redundant. What do I anticipate BC to do in the next 3 hours? I have no idea, but to me, MACD is bouncing off of my support line. I would say that our complex wave 2 is done. So let's go ahead and pull some projections just to see what that would look like if my count is correct. I do not have a crystal ball, so I cannot give you exact answers. But let's go ahead and assume my danger zone is in this second blue box here. Below it, I am getting very concerned about that lower low count. But if this is a valid 1-2 and our complex 2 wave is done, this is what it will look like. So we're going to grab the fib extension tool, 3-point tool. We're going to grab the top of our 5-wave move, project it from the bottom of our C. There gives our 100% projection. We're going to look at a 100 to 200% box right there. And then I'm also going to grab extensions. So I'm going to grab the top of 5, grab the bottom of our A. I'm going to do big extensions here since that was such a complex wave. I'll do the 272, 3618, because if this is going to be a wave 3, it's going to have to get over our suggested B wave to really be wave 3. So a 1272 extension is not going to do it, right? It's only going to put it right around here. So this is how I would count this right now. Here's our 1, 2. Bottom of C2, 3 would be here, 4 would be pullback. Since this is a complex flat kind of a thing, I would expect a sharp ABC zigzag for our 4th wave, and 5th wave, probably the top of the box here. So if my count is correct, this is what I would like to see. And let's go ahead and change this color. All right. Any other questions? Let's see. Do I trade any other alts? Yes. Right now, I really like Ven. That chart is just incredible. Can Trader talk about how long he holds long-term position? Right now, yeah, I'm just take your profit and money ride. Yes, I'm really having a difficult time as far as what the ideal trading plan setup scenario is here. I believe here's my theory. If this Bitcoin market has bottomed against the dollar, right? If we're starting our new impulse, to me, what that means is we are starting in a primary wave 5, which has Bitcoin projecting up to about anywhere from 40 to 60,000, and I believe a lot of alts will do very, very well. I almost think that building out a portfolio and just holding for the next 6 months might be the most profitable strategy, in all honesty. Counting the ABCDE into an expanding flat ABCD. Yes, that is correct. I'm counting my ABCDE as a complex A and our B wave up here, and then a 5-wave move down for our C. Can I screenshot the chart? You can screenshot it yourself. Do you have snipping tool on Windows? Just go ahead and grab it. All right, I'm not really seeing any other questions specific to this chart. So I'll just chart. Someone says BNB, it's amazing. ETH, let's see. All right, let's see. Vibe, okay, yeah, Vibe looks good on the daily. It looks like it's starting at 1-2. Let's just go over this real quick.
I think it's the wrong ticker.
Yeah. Bringing up S&P stuff.
I think, is that it? Or is it, that might be it. This might be another one, actually.
Oh, this is the wrong one.
Yeah,
Thanks, Mike.
Yeah, Vibe, BTC, yeah.
All right, yeah, this looks good. This looks like, where'd my volume go? I gotta have my volume, guys. Oh, did my volume get somehow in the MACD?
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. All right, I'm not sure why the MACD is not working here, but on the Binance chart, when you look at it, the MACD has crossed over, so the momentum has shifted on the daily for Vibe. This looks good. I'm definitely a buyer here in this market, no question. That looks like a 1-2. Let's just grab a quick projection and see if it lines up with any of Mike's fibs here. Yeah, between the, what is that, 1618, 2618 zone, somewhere around there for top of wave 3. Probably a flat for 4 since 2 is a sharp zigzag, it looks like. So yeah, I'm a buyer in Vibe. Let's see what else. ADA. Looks like a lot of people want ADA. Yeah, I'll admit ADA has been a little frustrating. I do hold some myself. That definitely looks like a 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's our, again, guys, basic wave stuff. That's definitely impulsive move. Definitely kind of a 5-wave zigzag shape. So that's good. Elliott wave is a lot art, more art than science. And I just kind of look for the generalized shapes. I don't get too nitpicky over over every little thing. But so this is some kind of complex ABC. This looks like a B wave. Our MACD is trending down. It's definitely moving down. This is corrective action. If we drill it down to the hourly, this triangle looks good. I would absolutely use this as kind of our most immediate signal, right? If we go below this, let's pull a projection of our suggested ABC here. Let's go ahead and count it. So if that's top of our 5, ABC here, let's see what 100% would look like. Maybe we'll project both from the top of this candle as well as this, just to see what it looks like. Yeah, I don't know if it's, I mean, it could go down all the way that low. It would really be bad if it did. That looks a little bit better. If this triangle breaks to the downside, especially if we go below our suggested A, I would look to see it bottom around this zone. Let's go ahead and look closer and see if we can see any clues. Let's go ahead and expand our MACD and see what we can find here. All right, so we've definitely got a downtrend here. Okay, guys. So this looks like it's triangling out here. So yeah, that looks pretty good. I mean, it's a big one, but we definitely have higher highs and higher lows. So here it is, guys. The market is absolutely building pressure. I would watch this triangle in the MACD. If we break out to the upside, looks good. If we break this to the downside, be careful. I would absolutely watch this triangle in the MACD for our indication of what the market is telling us here. So there you go, guys. There it is. Here's something you can do yourself. Everyone just saw it. The market is building pressure. Which way is it going to go? I do not know.
Bang, bang.
Bang, bang, bang. That's how you use it, guys. That's how you use the MACD. All right, what else we got? I know someone said BNB. BNB is in a very bullish chart on the weekly. Let's look at VEN real quick, because VEN is one of my favorites. This thing is just so freaking bullish that I just had to buy it today because it's just not pulling back. Oh, guys, that was on the hourly MACD. So I use the hourly MACD a lot, and the daily. So I look at the weekly, the daily, and the hourly. Those are my go-to charts.
You might appreciate this channel too.
Yeah, that looks phenomenal, dude. My God, this market is just absurdly bullish. It really is. So let's look at this on the daily here. When we talk about trying to size up a market in general, when I look for my impulsive or corrective action, well, I look at this chart. There's almost no corrective action here. It's like non-existent. We've got a flat here, triangle. We've got another flat here. I mean, that's it. That's all we have. So I really have to consider this a completed 5, and this is our wave 2 primary pullback. I really have to, because whatever we've got here, we've got some kind of 1, 2, 3, 4 extended 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves for our 5th. That looks great. So this whole move is a 1, 2, and look at the MACD, guys. I mean, it's just straight up. Yeah, VEN, this is all wave 1. It's in wave 3 now, I believe. Let's go ahead and point that out. So here's our 1, 2, very shallow wave 2. I mean, it hardly pulled back, guys. I mean, barely. This is how I have to count this market, and I bought a ton of this symbol today. This is now my largest holding. I don't think you can go wrong buying here. I mean, it's in the heart of a wave 3, I believe. I mean, look at that MACD, just straight up, super strong. Love it. So let's go ahead and pull a projection. Grab the bottom of our suggested wave 1. Project it from the bottom of our wave 2. 100% lines up pretty close to Mike's 2618. Let's grab the 200% for our zone. Oh, it's already there. Perfect. Yep. I could see it going all the way here, 200% projection of wave 3. It might not, but this chart looks insanely bullish. Is that enough data to make choice buy? Yeah, I bought today. I think so. Is that the MACD that you use? Yes, standard MACD, 12, 26, 9, standard. I use it on the daily, hourly, and the weekly as well. Then I believe wave 3. Shouldn't wave 3 be the largest? In traditional financial markets, that is the case, but and it was kind of a hard rule in Elliott wave thought and process that wave 3 was always the strongest. But I've been seeing a lot of wave 5s in this crypto space be the strongest one. I've been seeing some truncations too in wave 5. So it's I'm not using wave 3 has to be the largest wave move. It's I've definitely been seeing some 5s that are larger than 3. Where am I targeting profit? I spoke on this a little bit ago. I'm not quite sure as what ideal profit taking targets are. Basically, I think we're in a primary 5 for Bitcoin itself. So I honestly believe that building out a portfolio right now and holding for the next 6 months might be the most profitable. I'm not quite sure yet. But I might approach it like a fund manager does, where I'll look at, I'm building out a portfolio and maybe I'll trim my outperformers a little bit and add to my underperformers, especially if the wave counts still look okay. Obviously, if a market just, or, if a chart just starts to break down and I have to reconsider about, losing it or dumping it or whatever. But yeah, I'm still not sure yet. I'm very new to crypto trading personally. I haven't even been trading cryptos for 2 months, guys. So I'm still very much a noob to this market. But when it comes to charting and analysis and trading in stocks and futures and options, I've got about 8 years experience. Any other questions? ICX and Link both look pretty good. Let's go ahead and just take a look at both of those real quick. Daily chart again. ICX is one of those that's just like straight up. I mean, we have barely anything corrective to work with. So to me, that looks like a 1-2. Just spot our impulses and our corrective moves. This definitely looks like an impulse. Corrective here. Yeah, I mean, this could be all of wave 3. It could just be a 1-2 of a larger 3. Right now, I would kind of default it to being a wave 3. Looks like the MACD is kind of trending down, maybe. Looks like there's not enough info in this chart. We're definitely doing a little triangle here in price action, though. Looks like it could be breaking out. Let's zoom in on the hourly. Let's go ahead and expand our MACD on the hourly, see if we can find anything. Zoom out a little bit. All right, so we've got lower highs here. We've got an uptrending here ever so slightly, but it's there. So there's our current triangle in the MACD. Let's go ahead. What do we got? It is uptrending. I mean, right? We've definitely got our most recent low that's curling up, higher low. I wouldn't put too much faith into this super one. That's just too. I mean, you can use it, if see if it holds it as support or if it violates it. So I mean, you can go ahead and that's definitely. But I would put more faith in the longer term trends. I'm a lazy river guy, and again, it doesn't have to be exact, right? I mean, like it dipped a little bit below here. Again, don't nitpick over every minor detail, but it is slightly uptrending here, right? We've got the general shape of an uptrend, and here we've got the general shape of a downtrend. So we are currently uptrending on the hourly. We've got a recent cross. Let's see what price action is doing relative to our triangle that we just found in the MACD. Oh, I mean, it looks pretty good. I mean, that looks impulsive. That looks corrective. It could be building another impulsive wave. This looks like a 3-wave ABC for either a 1-2 of a larger 3 or the top of 3, if that is all we get for 3 there. Go ahead and mark our ABC. Or 4 down around there. So we've got a trend line here. It's definitely, a little triangle, upsloping triangle action. I would watch this market to break out of this resistance line, and especially if it holds this support line. And now on the MACD, so say it breaks up, it breaks out here, you buy this market, it looks good, it's going up. What you're going to want to watch for in the MACD is you're going to want to watch it to either break this resistance line in our triangle or see if it gets rejected and turns back down. So that's what I would be watching in this chart. I do own this market. I definitely like this chart. I mean, it's just pretty much straight up. It could be getting ready to make its next wave higher. So definitely looks good. What else? It was ICX, and what was the other one? Link, maybe? Let's take a look at Link. Do I still like HSR from last week? Yes, I do. But that one, HSR, you have to be prepared to sit on it for a while because it's one of those very longer term charts. But it definitely looks good to me. Let's go look at Link. Let's go to the daily. Yeah, looks like a nice cup and handle. Look at what the MACD is doing, guys. MACD is uptrending while price is downtrending. Those are the best reversal patterns to buy. You kind of want to wait for, you never want to catch a falling market. You want to wait for some signals. And here are the daily chart. Look at my 821 EMA cross. I mean, that was beautiful. So you had a lot of volume come in. You can see the volume rising. My 821 EMA cross, boom, you could have gotten long at that 821 cross. I love the 821 EMA. For me, that's my go-to EMA. I just love it on the daily, the weekly, hourly. That's what I use. Boom, you could still be in this trade. Looks good, looks bullish. There's our cup. Here's our little handle. Definitely dipped down pretty far on that sell-off on Bitcoin earlier this week. But this looks good. Looks like it's building out, finishing out that cup. Here's our suggested 1-2 off of the low. Let's go ahead and look at the hourly, see what we can find on our MACD. Let's go ahead and get rid of that daily line. A little bit of resistance and momentum there. Looks like we got an uptrending support line there. You can see it's kind of curling right now and ready to cross over and bounce. So that looks good. Higher low. And we have what looks like a 5-wave move. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Looks like that looks like a 5-wave move down. So this could just be an A wave. We could get a 3-wave B and another complex C wave for a flat. Because that does look like a 5-wave impulsive down. That doesn't look like a 3-wave to me. So I would have to count this as an A wave with a working up a B wave, 3-wave corrective B wave. So we may need more time in this market, a little more time for correction, sideways action, accumulation, right? Remember the dope trades, there's three things the market's doing, accumulation, distribution, and then your up or down legs. And that would make sense. I mean, you know, it's definitely had a big move. We've got declining volume, so maybe we need a little more sideways action before this market's really ready to, you know, to break out. WTC. Can we look at WTC? So this, you know, I don't really. This one, I'm not a buyer here. To me, I think it needs more accumulation, maybe.
Yeah, it was too much correction for me.
Yeah. Let's look at WTC. Let's look at WTC on the weekly chart. Well, yeah, let's see what it looks like. Yeah, see, I like this weekly chart because this is a clear 1, 2, 3 impulse. I literally think you can just buy this market and just float down the lazy river, guys. 3 is probably going to top somewhere around there. 4, maybe come back to retest top of our wave 1, and then 5 is going to go higher. I mean, this is what China Mobile, right? WTC. This is what this is, because this could be this is what the real lazy river is made of. You know, weekly charts are just my bread and butter. You can buy this right here. It may retrace back to this zone, but longer term, this is an investor's market. BNB looks very similar to this as well. Let's just go ahead and look at BNB real quick. Yep. Again, weekly chart, guys, lazy river type stuff. Here's our 1, 2 impulse and correction. Top of wave 3 could go. Yeah, I think we've got another wave higher in BNB. I think wave 3 could go here or here. But I'll pull projection just to see what it looks like. Let's start our impulse here. Oh, actually, it's hitting 200% projection. Maybe it's done already. Maybe it's in a complex 4. Either way, I don't think you can go wrong by buying this market. All right, let's see. XVG, we got a couple requests for XVG. Let's take a look at that one. Well, on the weekly, it certainly looks like a 1, 2. There's definitely a lot of volume on these selling bars here, so that is a little bit of concerning. These two, the volume is about half as the previous 2 weeks, so that's good. That volume is decreasing. Let's bring this down to the daily and see what we're looking at here. Yeah, it's definitely triangle. I was counting A, B, C, D, E. You know, I'm gonna have to. If anyone saw my chart earlier, last week, I was counting this as our impulsive move, and this is our corrective. Unfortunately, it is pulling back further than I would have liked. Let's just take a look and see what the retracement is. All right. I mean, it is in the zone. Yeah, that's good. Let's, you know, count this as our 1, 2 impulse. That Mac Daddy looks like it's curling. Looks like it wants to. Let's break it down to the hourly and see what we can find. See if we got any divergence or some higher lows. Sometimes it's kind of hard to grab that. All right, we definitely look like we've got, you know, that triangle. We've got downtrending and upper trending lines here. So we definitely have pressure building in this market, confirmed by the MACD. Got another little higher low there. We can even draw this one here. I mean, these ones are extreme, but for immediate market action, we can use them to help determine what the market is telling us. So what we'd like to see is we'd like to see our hourly MACD cross up and break this little resistance downtrend line. If we see that, that looks good. That's what we want to see, right? Then we can watch our price action and see what's happening there. And we've also got a little triangle here in this price action. So if we break this triangle as well as our MACD triangle, that looks good to me for a initial impulse. It looks like we kind of have somewhat of a 1-2 initial impulse out of our box zone here. I would like to see a little bit more volume, but we definitely need to see this market confirm to us that this correction phase is over. So if it is, I would count this as a big 1-2. Okay, what else? TRX. A lot of people want to know about TRX. Let's take a look. Yeah, I admit TRX is being a dick, guys. I mean, this market is not being very kind, is it? Let's pull our retrace. Now it is bouncing out of my zone. That is good. And I see someone else had a zone there too. So it looks fairly constructive. It doesn't look terrible. That doesn't really look like an ABC to me. I mean, this could be our complex A. This could be a B. MACD is trending down on the daily. Let's take it to the hourly, see if we can find anything. All right, same thing, guys. We're seeing this in a lot of charts, right, where we've got a downtrending upper slope, or down sloping up, upper resistance line, as well as an upsloping lower support line, and we've got triangle action in our MACD on the hourly chart. Really, what we're going to want to watch in this market is to just simply see whether we can hold this as support or whether we can break this as resistance right now. If we can break the resistance line, and then I believe we are off to the races and this market will have bottomed. I really don't know. This does look impulsive. This does look corrective. It definitely looks good that we exited some of these peaks here, some of these external peaks here, in our downtrending, lower highs, lower lows. I do own some TRX myself because it does look like a larger 1-2. I believe when we look at the weekly chart on this one, to me, it just looks like a 1-2. We've got nice volume coming up in our up movement. We've got declining volume in our pullback. I am long this market, but it is kind of being a bastard. What can I say? TRX, the doji of Binance. It could be. CND. Let's take a look at that one. Ooh, looks good. Looks bullish.
This has been a banger.
Yeah, it really has. Yeah, I mean that's a corrective move right there. That's not impulsive, right? That's corrective down. Here's impulsive up. Here's corrective down. Definitely a little 1, 2 there, 3, 4, 5. That looks good. I like that count. It's not, you know, it's not perfect, right? But that fits a general 5-wave move. You know, again, I'm not too picky about it. This is definitely a corrective move here. So I like that as our little 1, 2, starting a third wave here. And look at that MACD, just nice cross, especially on our wave 3. Suggested. Looks good. I like this. Looks very bullish. I think you can just buy it right here. We'll pull some projections, see if they line up with Mike's fibs here. For my wave projections, guys, I like to use the 3-point projection tool. Looks like we're going to head to 200% on this one. Yeah, looks like we're fairly close. Where is that? Oh, up here. Okay. 1, 2, 3. It looks like 3 here. But I bet I could find a 5-wave move if I drill it down to the hourly. Either way, this market is definitely bullish. And I would think this market is going higher. We got good volume in our look guys, how we have our impulsive moves. Always be looking at volume too when you're looking at impulsive and corrective wave action. So you want to see volume increase on your impulsive moves up and volume decline on your corrective waves. You can see here volume moved up on our impulsive, declined on our correction, a little bit of move up on our impulsive, definitely declining on our correction here. And then when we start this wave, our suggested wave 3 here, we got a nice spike in volume. This little move here, declining volume. It would be nice to see more volume for this bar here, but this market is definitely looking pretty good. Let's see if there's anything on the hourly that we can find. Not much. I'm not seeing much, especially in the MACD. Good volume coming in right now. Good structure on the MACD. Looks pretty good. I mean, we've definitely got some kind of a upsloping line there. I mean, this is good. This market is bullish. There's really not much else to say about this chart. What else? ENJ or EOS? Let's see. Neo looks great, guys, on the weekly chart. I'll just say Neo looks fantastic. Let's take a look at ENJ real quick. Looks really bullish. Here's our corrective action. Looks a little bit complex. That looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ABC down maybe. It's a little complex. It's not a standard ABC zigzag, that's for sure. That could be the low. Let's pull my fib here. Let's pull the fib from wave 5 as well as our full retrace. Yeah, that looks pretty good right at the bottom of that low. That looks really good. I'm not going to bother pulling the other one because let's go ahead and drill it down to the hourly and see if we can find anything in that MACD. Okay, here's what we want to look out for. We've got our downtrending line there. We've got our uptrending line here. Let's use this one. It's less severe. So watch this support line. If this support line breaks, I I would expect, obviously, this support line would probably be breaking, you know, very close by as well. You know, but if that MACD support line breaks, we might be headed for lower lows here in this market in some kind of more complex pattern. However, if it holds it as support and just grinds sideways and then breaks out of this triangle, then that looks good for your next wave higher. Does that make sense, guys? Is anyone unclear about how to use that? Gotcha, looks good. TraderUnknown, any idea how futures contract expiring this week will impact BTC? My gut feeling is I'm watching the charts. I'm defaulting to the bottom being in BTC, and I'm not thinking this next contract expiration is going to be an event, and here's why. The CBOE contracts, the ones that expired this last week, they were the first contracts out the gate. I believe they had the most juice to goose, right? I mean, they had the most juice in those contracts since you know, they were the first one, the front runner. I mean, it was just you got the starting advantage. There was probably just more juice in that one, and they probably sold them short, you know, at the highs and used their billions of dollars to run the market down for expiration. They covered at the lows, and now they are likely long already. I don't think there's enough juice in next week's expiration for them to, you know, push the market into that lower low. Now, I don't know that for sure. So again, we will let's double back and end this session at our Bitcoin chart. Sorry if I missed a chart from you guys. I tried to get through as many as I could. Hopefully, taught you guys a couple things about how to use price action volume and the MACD. Bitfinex was the one. Was that the right one?
Yeah.
Bitfinex. Okay, I'm gonna have to start using that. So we just look for our chart, because whatever the big boys do, it's going to show up in the chart. Now, again, we did find support after we broke our downtrending resistance MACD line on the hourly. We did find it as support. Fantastic. That's really, really good. I like it. We do have what looks like a completed 5-wave impulse out of the low with a very complex ABC pattern for our wave 2 retrace. Look for this MACD line to continue acting as support. If it turns down and then breaks it and fails and goes below our new higher low, that is a signal of danger that the boys are moving the market down for that contract expiration. But for now, I default to the low being in. Shorter time frame looks down. No, I don't really like to go lower than the hourly. I mean, I do go lower, but the hourly is what you want. I mean, right? So what do we got in the hourly? We've got a higher low on our, you know, we've got a support line after breaking our resistance line. So now it's turned into support, right? Because that happens with price too, right? When you break a resistance zone, sometimes it comes back and tested as support. You'll see the same thing in the MACD. Right now, my EMAs are kind of squeezing. I would like to see MACD continue trending up. I would like to see a 821 EMA cross on my hourly chart to give me more confidence that my wave 3 count is correct here. So for now, I do default to the bottom of Bitcoin being in. Let me go ahead and zoom out a little bit so you guys can print screen this chart. This is the chart. I'm now mainly tracking Bitcoin dollar because I now realize that is the chart that lifts and lowers the rest of the boats. All right, guys, I think that was a fantastic stream.
Hell yeah.
If BTC breaks the bottom below 10K, would I sell off my altcoins like Ven? Maybe, maybe not. It seems Ven held up very well during this last sell-off. I wouldn't be surprised if Ven just didn't, you know, ZFG and just continued going higher.
So, question in the chat: when can we catch you again? Will we get another Sunday hour next week? Maybe.
Let's do another Sunday lazy river session. I like Sunday.
Yes.
Thanks for all the compliments, guys. It looks like everyone had a great time. I hope I convinced a couple people to pay more attention to that MACD because it is important. You just have to know how to use it.
Anyway, what a great session, guys.
Quick and dirty ETH technical analysis. Let's just do it real quick.
Oh, one last one. Here we go, boys.
One last one. Encore. Let's use the Bittrex data. Let's look at the weekly chart since we got a quick and dirty. Well, that looks like a 1, 2, 3, 4 heading into a fifth wave. It looks fantastic. What can I say?
I know, right? It's just been a banger too.
God, that looks fucking amazing. Oh, sorry, my French. Looks freaking amazing. There's our projection. Let's also grab a retracement too, because I don't think a 200% projection looks good enough. Maybe I didn't do that right. No, I did. Wave 3 projection. Let's just grab retracement or extensions rather. I think a 1618, 1272, 27, and a 26. That is our zone. That doesn't look high enough to me. I would look for a fifth wave extension in ETH. There's your quick and dirty. Session covered BNB, I believe. It's in either a primary weekly wave 3 or wave 4. Either way, it's going to consolidate at some point and head higher. Lazy river, guys. I love this crypto space right now because if we are in a primary 5 on Bitcoin, it's just going to be very bullish for the rest of the year until we see those top targets. I myself will be floating down the lazy river. I hope you guys had fun. I had fun as well.